Just wrapping up last week. So we came back yesterday. We had a good things we did well, things that we didn't do well, and make those corrections before we move on to Georgia State. We didn't have any players of the game. We don't do that when there's a loss. But I did think there were guys that did play well, and there were some good performances from several guys on the team. But overall, just guys were disappointed, as they should be, and we need to take away what we learned from this game, apply it to this week, and use that as motivation going into the preparation that we need to have against a really good Georgia State team. So, and looking at Georgia State, this is a team, go back a couple years ago, that beat Tennessee. What I've seen on film right now, they play very hard, very well coached. Coach Elliott does a great job with them on offense. They give you a lot of problems. I think their quarterback, number 3, Granger, he's a transfer that came in there, had his first start this last Saturday, and played well. So had a couple TD passes, a couple rushing touchdowns, was leading the team in rushing there, second leading rusher. Destin Coates, their tailback, guy's got great feet, runs hard, plays physical. Number 2, their wide receiver, James Thrash, 11 catches for 167 yards. So he's a guy now that can take it over at the wide receiver position. Very impressed with him. Number 15, Sam Pickney. He's been injured, but one of the guys that's the best in the conference. And so, these guys have done a great job as far as just, what they have to do on the offensive side, and, give you some different looks and ways they can attack you defensively. Very solid linebacker, Blake Carroll, very good player, leading tackler. Dante Wilson, their nose tackle. This guy is strong, physical, plays, I think, very hard and consistent as the game goes on. You see that. Their cornerback, White, this guy's their best DB, one of their best DBs. He's got good ball skills, and you can see him show up quite a bit on tape. Special teams, all very solid, like we've been seeing for the last 3 games. I think there's a good specialist. There's got to be opportunities in there that we hopefully can create on special teams, but these guys do a good job, and they definitely have the attention of everybody on this team and this staff. It's our next opponent, and we want to make sure that we prepare ourselves going into Tuesday for the looks and the things that we feel like we have to work on to go out there and play our best football on Saturday. But very good team. We have a chance to be at home, and for us to really focus on the things that we have to work on, and no distractions from that standpoint, and just lock back into the things that have helped us to where we are right now, and learn from the things that we did not do well and how we must improve in those areas, and then spend the proper amount of time getting ourselves ready to go. I think one of the things in the last game is that we have to continue to improve on is the discipline of everybody in this program, and staying focused on the things that matter, staying focused on the things that are going to help us be successful, and then continue on with making sure that we continue to emphasize the things that are important, and we make those important, and we fix the things that we need to correct as we move into this next week. So with that, questions?
First question is from Brian Matthews.
Yes, Brian, just looking back at your run-pass balance there, were you pleased with that, or considering Tank and Jarquez averaged about 5.2 yards per carry, would you like to fed them the ball a little bit more?
Well, I always think we want to run it as much as we can, and you want to have balance. And I think those guys did a very good job. The O-line and the tight ends, those guys had blocked well, and so run game-wise, we felt good about some of the things that we were doing. In the pass game, there was opportunities there as well, and so you'd like to have that balance. But we want to continue that trend. We want to be able to run the ball. We want to be able to do it effectively like we did in the last game. And we want to be able to build off of that in the pass game and then keep the balance of run to pass. But ultimately, one of the things that I thought we did well, we ran the ball in the red zone well. We had some opportunities to do that again, and there was a little bit of confusion there when we got down into the red zone, but we got to build off of that. We got to continue to keep developing the run game, and I thought the O-line was a big part of that. There's improvements, there's things that we're doing on the O-line and the run game that you're seeing show up where we're getting better, and that trend has to continue. So we got to build on the stuff that we're doing there, and then make sure that our run game is solid and that we can do some things off it in pass game.
Mark Murphy.
Coach, opponents are completing just at 79% of their passes. And I was just wondering, how big a concern is that? And is it a personnel issue, or is it mistakes in running the scheme?
Well, I think it's a combination of, our opponents doing a good job of executing their pass game. So guys actually catching the ball and doing that. But we've got to come up and challenge them. That's too high of a completion percentage that you want to see against the defense. So there's things that we have to do as far as putting ourselves, in zone coverage in better positions. We got to create some pass rush and be able to make the quarterback have to move in the pocket, and so create some opportunities there. That's an area that we know we can improve on, and then lower that percentage as the season goes on from what the quarterbacks are able to do. And so a lot of that, even on the scrambles, when a guy gets out of the pocket, we have to plaster and cover and stay in coverage a little bit longer, and then be able to make some plays on the ball. So those are all things that they're a work in progress every single week. It's not something that we don't expect the teams are going to throw it. We just have to continue to keep working and putting ourselves in a position to have the right personnel out there, absolutely, but also be able to play those techniques properly. A fundamental of the game is covering, and we've got to be able to really work through the techniques and improve in those areas as we move forward. And we need to get those numbers down for sure.
When you say plaster, can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yeah, that means just to cover, like to stay on. If there's a guy scrambling or moving, you need to stay on your man, and that's always something you work that in camp. You work that as the season goes on. You see it in games, but keeping your eyes on your man when a quarterback's scrambling, and there's eyes on the QB at times. When he does finally break the line of scrimmage, you're going to be able to converge on him and tackle him. But keeping eyes on your man as you cover down the field and scrambles.
Michael Gittens.
Hey, Coach. The offense was 1 of 10 on passes beyond 20 yards on Saturday. After watching the tape, what's your assessment of the vertical passing game, and is there a plan to reassess wide receiver rotations headed into Georgia State?
Well, I think there's a plan to go. Every single week, and this is win or lose. You go back and look at, all right, what did we get done, and what did we do well? Guys are competing for opportunities to play, so I think you're always assessing that. Even in a win, you go back and look at the rotation, and you look at the guys that played well. You look at other guys that are practicing well that you want to get into the game that may deserve an opportunity. Obviously, the big plays, the explosive plays, were not there. That's a big part of what we have to create. And, it comes down to, I think there's opportunities for that. I think there were, from a scheme standpoint, chances to do that. We've got to be able to hit them. We've got to be able to catch them. Those are fundamentals. Those are things that we work on every single day that we've got to be able to execute in a game. So to me, that's just more time of working through those same concepts and the fundamentals of making those plays in order to hit those shot plays down the field, or to have explosive plays in the pass game. And you got to have more explosives than we had in this game. You can run the ball. You got to have some explosive plays. You can put 12, 13 play drives together, but you want to try to create some momentum. And it doesn't always have to be just a play down the field. It can also be, an even shorter throw that somebody's able to take and make something out of it. Those are things that we've got to find ways to create those opportunities for more explosives, because that's a big part of it. And explosive plays in a game are a big factor to that offense in particular having success in the game.
Bennett Durando.
And to sort of follow up on Mark's question, I know that these guys are sort of used to more press man coverage in the past. Is it sort of just growing pains early on in the season? And then what's the top adjustment this week in terms of sort of working on learning through that?
What are you talking about, the defense, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, defense, sorry, and coverage.
Okay, what did you mean by more press man?
Just in the previous system, I mean, we talked before the season a bit about sort of the more off man and zone coverage. Is it sort of just a growing pain sort of thing early in the year when there's a high completion percentage?
Yeah, I don't really know if it's a growing pain. That would we'd be making the assumption that we're allowing that and just kind of playing soft and making sure that we're not trying to be aggressive. I don't think that's the case. You want to protect yourself from big play opportunities at times, but we are trying to be aggressive throughout the game plan. And I don't think we're trying to just play soft and give up those throws. Now we haven't executed the way that we could and should. So I think that's what you're asking as far as the growing pains. Those are things that we got to make those plays. We got to put ourselves in a position to go in there and play a little tighter in coverage. Man coverage, we will play it. We had some man coverage in the game. Penn State did a good job with their tempo and did some things, against some of our coverages where they made plays, and that's going to happen. There's going to be plays made. Offenses are going to make plays. You got to be able to recover. You got to be able to get yourself back into position if there's some momentum created from the offense to where you can now play in a man or zone situation and eliminate the explosive play again, because a lot of teams are going to try to come back to that. But overall, yeah, we have to improve on the defensive side in coverage like we do everywhere else on this team, and that's putting ourselves really throughout the week of practice in those positions. So come game time, we do what we practice, and that really is what it comes down to. We need to do the things in the games that we practice, and that way we can have some consistency. That way we know, maybe what the issues might be, and we can identify that and we can make adjustments. So a lot of it comes down to the consistency and really just doing the things in games that you practice, and not putting ourselves in a position where we do things that are out of character from what we did the entire week of preparing. And that's where our preparation comes in. That's where the daily focus comes in, and how just important those reps and the fundamentals and the things that we preach every single day really are, because they're going to show up in games, and our opponents are also doing they're doing their best to put us in a position where we have a disadvantage on the defensive side. And so it just your studying, your preparation, your knowledge going into that game is going to reflect all the work that you did that entire week, to have yourself ready to go out there and identify things that they're trying to do. And if you're in zone and there's a concept where they're trying to get in space, where there's probably some things you can identify from your preparation, and you can put yourself in a better position to make plays on the ball.
Jordan Hill.
Bryan, you mentioned the pass rush a little earlier. Just with a little time to go back and look at the Penn State game, did anything in particular stand out? And I also want to ask about Owen, if you got any update on him.
Yeah, Owen's doing good. He obviously came out of the game, but Owen's he's a tough guy, and he's ready to go back and get after it. So I feel good about his progress throughout this week. We'll see. We'll know more on Tuesday of where he's at, how many reps he gets, and that's part of where we are, in the season. It's not just our team. There's going to be guys that get nicked up in games, and you're going to have to manage that throughout the week, but they'll be ready to go come game time. So that's really going to be the case as we move forward, and hopefully nobody's going to be out for the season, but you're going to have some guys that got to get in that training room and really spend time in there and really be a pro, just taking care of their body, getting themselves back into practice, and then obviously prepared for the game. As far as the pass rush goes, yeah, we gotta put some pressure on the QB. We can't let him stand back there and sit in the pocket for 8-9 seconds. We got to be able to move him, get him off his platform of where he wants to be. So disrupt the pocket somehow, get guys moving where we have a chance to see where the quarterback's eyes might be, or put him in a position to be a little disadvantaged for them by moving him around, and we didn't get that done enough. And create some opportunities where we can get to the QB as well and create some sacks. So we have to do a better job of that, and that's something that we've got to evolve and be better at on the defensive side. So all those things, they showed up. And if we can do a better job in those areas and pressure the quarterback, and we can continue to do a good job against the run, and we've been able to do that, then we're obviously going to help our secondary out. We're going to help out the defense in coverage, and we're going to give ourselves a better chance, with some of the completions that have been made on us if we can do a better job up front.
Justin Ferguson.
Bryan, what did you learn about Bo in this first game for him in a new system, away from home and against a really good opponent like Penn State?
Well, I didn't think, the one thing, a lot of the talk in the week, obviously the environment, there was a lot of people there. It did get loud. I thought we handled that well. So that I was pleased with. We did handle the noise. I thought we had poise from that position. And so, those were positives there. And then, there were things in the game that he did really well. There was things that you go back and we're going to learn from that can be better. But I said before, the guys around him as well, need to be consistent. And we need to line up properly. We need to have, guys that are in the game, detailed to what it is that they're out there to do. So the details of what we're doing on the offense are extremely important to the success. And the quarterback's job is not to go out there and have to manage every single guy on the field. He has to do his job, just like everybody else. The quarterback has his job to do. That's what he needs to stay focused on. So you need all 11 guys on the field doing exactly what we practice, doing exactly what they're supposed to do as far as the pre-snap of the play. We can control that. We can control all the things up to the pre-snap of lining up right, being in the right spots, and making sure that everybody is set and prepared to go out there and play fast on that play. And then when the ball is snapped, it's a matter of reacting and to what the defense is doing, or going out there and attacking them one way or another, depending on the call. And that's what we have to do a better job on the offensive side is being consistent in the games from the things that we do in practice. And that's, to me, that's discipline. It's all about discipline. It's all about the time spent throughout the week. So when you get into the games, you spent so much time, you've worked on it and focused on it. It's going to be very hard to get it wrong from that standpoint before the ball is snapped. And Bo did a good job with all those things, getting the plays in, making sure that we had the right play call. He checked a few plays, did a nice job of seeing things, and so there was some really good positives that came out of that in that environment too. And what you really want to see is your quarterback handle the noise and the environment and have poise. I thought he did that throughout the game.
Nathan King.
Hey, Bryan, I know you said, you don't like to make immediate judgments on plays like that 4th and 2 until you have time to go look at the film. So now that you've had an opportunity, do you think that was the right play call there? And what did you think about the read that Bo made?
Well, yeah, that's a tough question there. Was it the right play call? It didn't work. And so, everybody's assumption on that. But there's, that's a good play. That's something that we prepared. That's something down there in that situation that has been prepared and that we've executed in practice and have done a good job of that. It's the first time we've had a chance to use it in a live game, and so it's just a matter of time, right, before you have a chance to call that, but you work on it. And there's options on that play. I'm not going to take you through the whole progression of it, but there are options on that play there, and I thought, from the standpoint of having a good play, we did. It didn't go our way, so obviously we got to go back and look at why it didn't go our way, what we can do better, and how we improve in that situation right there. But the guys were working to do their job on the play, and it didn't go our way. So that's what we have to take away from that. We got to learn from it, and we got to get better as coaches and players. And we're going to be in that situation again. We're going to be down there inside the 5-yard line with the 4th and goal of some kind, and we got to find a way on 4th down plays. When you're in those situations, it comes down to you got to make a play on 4th down. It's not ideal. To be in a 4th down situation, you'd like to put yourself in a position where you're converting on 3rd downs. But in 4th downs, we have to have great plays. We got to make great execution happen on those plays, and it didn't go our way. And credit to Penn State too. It's not just the play. Penn State did a good job. They had themselves in good position in a 4th down call, whatever their call was. Those guys work those same things just like we do, and there were opportunities there. And next time we got to learn from it, and we'll be in that situation again. And next time we need to have a better result.
Jason Caldwell.
Ryan, you talked about kind of learning. What did you learn about a guy like Kobe Hudson Saturday night, coming back, the way he responded in the second half? How important was it to see that out of a young guy like that?
Well, I think it's important to see that. I think it's important to see anybody respond when something negative happens. That's what you want. You want to see your team respond. And we talk about that a lot because that's the majority of the game. You're going to have things that happen to you that it's not perfect. You're still going to be able to win, that particular play. And you're going to have to come back and respond to whatever that challenge was. And, you got to have your mind right. I think, that goes back to just, preparation and all that. Some of those things, we can't let happen. And, so there's things that happen in games that, yes, you have to respond to. There's things that happen in games that you're preparing to not let happen. And, that's also part of it as well. So we want to respond properly when bad things happen to us, but we also don't want to put ourselves in a position to have negative plays or bad things happen to us, and that goes back all the way Sunday through Friday in our preparation. So, but ultimately, that in the middle of a game, the heat of the battle, and all those things, you've got to move on to that next play. You've got to be able to get back out there and make things happen, and he was able to do that, and so were other players on the team. Guys did that, and they were able to come back, and we still, at the end of the game, we still give ourselves a chance to go score, to win the game, and we're not able to do that. And when you're on the road and you're playing a good football team like Penn State, those are the things that we have to learn through our preparation, through the games we play, through all the things that we do, every rep we take, to be able to go out there and execute and make those plays in those situations. And so it's not just the ones that are the obvious ones. There's other things in the game that we see, that we know, that we could have picked up that are going to also put us in a position where we have more explosive, we have more opportunities, we have better field position in the game, and we didn't execute it. And that goes back to our, look back at yourself, look back at how you had yourself ready, look back at how we put that together as a staff. And that's really what you do each and every game, win or lose. You should always have that same process to go back. And if you didn't do something well in a win, it's still important. And when you get into a game and you lose it, you want to try to be consistent every single week. as a coach. And so it's important in a win, it's important in a loss, it's all important. And those are things that we've been working on, and that's the progression of where we are with this team is a continuation of correcting those things, getting better at it, and then knowing that those things are coming each and every week. And let's not wait for it on Saturday. We got to work that and really focus on it each practice that we get leading up to the game.
Bill Cameron.
You mentioned Penn State's pace a little earlier, and yeah, there were a few times when players were just getting on the field and barely getting set if they were, or looking at the sideline. And they certainly won't be the last team that'll use pace this year. Does that make you reconsider, or do you look at how you're getting plays in and perhaps moving Coach Mason from the box?
No, that has nothing to do with the box. Just one thing, I know that's a question that I've heard before. We have headsets, and it's all real time, so none of that really has anything to do with how the plays get in, whether you're in the box or on the field. But you're going to see tempo teams like you just said. There's no doubt about it. We're going to see that. And every team has the ability to use tempo, whether they go fast or not, whether that's just in their DNA or they just have the opportunity in a certain field position, or after a big play they're going to try to go tempo. So you always got to be ready. And a little bit like I was talking about with the offense, the same on the defense. You got to get your eyes to the side. You got to understand what teams try to do when they use tempo and where they try to do it at. So that comes back to just knowing that through film study, knowing that through sitting in the meetings and listening to the defensive coaches when they're talking about tempo. Practicing with the sense of urgency. Saturday is not the time to go out there and then all of a sudden you have this sense of urgency and you think you're going to be ready for that. You have to do that every single day leading into the game, and you got to do it in the right mindset. So you can operate like that, so you can get the call and we can get ourselves lined up and ready to play. Because tempo, that's one of the things about tempo. Tempo is good if you can get the defense on their heels. Tempo can be an issue for your offense now. If you go 3 bad plays, you're off the field in 40 seconds. So, that's the trade-off with tempo. And teams that we're going to play, we're going to see that. And defensively, we're going to have to get ourselves in position to go make plays, whether they're going fast, going slow, moving guys around, huddling up. That's what you do on defense. You have to defend all those different things. And offenses, there's just a lot of variety. There's a lot of different things that offensive coordinators are doing now. Everybody's stealing a little bit from somebody that they see, putting it into their package of plays that week. And that's why you got to be on point at all times on defense. And you got to have some awareness of what that team's doing. If they're kind of muddling around, hey, they're slowing it down a little bit. Get your call, get lined up. You feel those guys taking the ball, then you got to be ready to play. Whether they're checking the play or not, you got to be ready. And that means you got to have that urgency at all times to make sure that you have yourself in position to go make plays. So I think a lot of it comes down to awareness on the defensive side and just knowing what your opponent's style is, and studying that and having a great feel for that throughout the week, and knowing that's what you're going to get in the game, and probably at a faster tempo, at a faster pace, because our scout team is not going to go out there and execute it as well as Penn State. They're going to try their best. They're going to give you the very best look they can. But, as a player, you got to know that. You got to know that after playing in a few games, the speed of the game, and then you take that into practice and you just practice at the speed of the game, and not just practice to the level of competition that you're getting from your scout team. You practice to your standard of what it's going to be like in the game, so that you're ready when it's time to go out there and play, and you're in the right position. And those are the things that we can improve on. Those are the things that we have to do a better job of. And that starts with me, that starts with our staff, and making sure that urgency, that focus that we have in practice is exactly what we feel like it needs to be as we get into the game. So none of that is any surprise. We shouldn't be out of position. We should be in position, and then the offense is going to come try to attack you certain ways, but we're in position and we can go have a chance to cover and make a play on the ball or have it a contested play. That's what we want. We don't want somebody that's uncontested and getting an opportunity for a freebie out there. So we got to improve in those areas.
Coach, our last question is from Philip Marshall.
Texas said personally that you can learn a lot from a loss, and essentially by some points and losses carried over negatively.
You're saying. No chance. I don't know what you're saying.
I think he's saying, sometimes coaches say you can learn a lot from a loss. Is that what you're saying, Philip?
And how do you make it a positive as opposed to a negative?
How do you make it a positive instead of a negative?
Right. Well, I think that's got to be the, one thing after a loss, and again, I think after every game, you go back, you assess it, and you look at what did you do well, what did you not. That's number one. And in a loss, I think everybody's disappointed, and should be. I think there's that sting of that we didn't get the job done. We didn't accomplish the mission that we set out to accomplish. And you use that. There's a lot of positives in that. You use that as motivation. You use that as, all right, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough in these areas. We are not good enough in these areas. So as a team, one, it starts with you, and then as a team, we all have to understand that what we did was not good enough. And credit to Penn State. All right, we know we played a very good opponent, but we knew there were opportunities in there that we could have done a better job of things that we control. And that's where it all starts. What did we do that we control that we have to be better at? What were the things that we did that we control that we didn't execute well, and why? And you start to go back and look at, was it in practice? Was it focus? Was it lack of time spent on preparing? And you have to realize from that I think winning can cover a lot of things up, and we've tried to focus on all those things, and not try to filter, because we won games, the stuff that we're not doing well. We're not trying to filter all that and just make it seem like it's not that bad. At the same time, what a loss does is it really, I think, not so much exposes, but gives you the understanding of just how important everything that we do really is, and the time that you have to spend to really have yourself prepared to play the way you want to play for 4 quarters of football. And that's the reality. And a loss, that sting, that drive, that motivation, whatever you want to call it, you got to move on, and you can't let the last game beat you twice. You do have to move on, but you got to keep some of that sting and understanding of what it is that you didn't do well enough, and make sure that the next week you don't go out and do the same thing. You don't go out there and do the same thing. You go out there and you do those things, but you do them better. You do them with more urgency. You do them with better focus. You spend more time in the film room studying your opponent, so you know every little thing you possibly can to have yourself prepared throughout the week so that you can go play fast and play confident, because you don't want to be in that same position again. That's a driving factor. There's no doubt about it. And to me, that should always be the driving factor. I don't think that you have to have that type of motivation to make you want to do those things better. I think you have to have that type of discipline to just do those things at that level every single day, every single week that we go and play. But some guys need that motivation. Some guys, it takes that to get that out of them. And that's good. That's something that you can take away from a loss. But where we want to go is that regardless of whether we win or lose, we operate like that every day. We operate like that every practice, every opportunity we get to prepare ourselves. That's the type of discipline that we have on this team. That's the type of toughness that we display on this team every single week. Because if you don't, then you don't want to find that out in a 3.5-hour game. There's not enough time. You don't go into a game and then all of a sudden, you're discovering all these things. You need to know that going into the game. And so experience and loss, that's going to give you a very good understanding of those things that we have to do daily in order for us to be successful and win, because you don't want to be in that position again. And so I hope, for our players, everybody in this program, that stings. That's a reminder. Let's say that for now. That's a reminder for this program right now that it takes what it takes. And regardless of how the day is going, when we lock in and we get in those meeting rooms, like there's a certain way of doing it. When we practice, there's a certain way of doing it. And understanding that from what we just experienced, and then whatever happens next, and we go play, and we're going to go play Georgia State. That's our focus. That's where we are right now. We're talking a lot about the previous game and all the what ifs and the things that we should have done and didn't do, and the way that we can get better at it. But we need to take all that into Georgia State, and that's the focus. And that's the final message for everybody in our program. We've moved on to Georgia State, but take what you've learned and apply it, and do it in a fashion where it doesn't have to be more on game day. It's exactly the way that we go and prepare ourselves is exactly how we want to go out there and play. And then you can enjoy the opportunity to be out there and compete and be in that moment and not have to worry about, did I do enough? That's one of the things that we have to learn and that we have to do a better job of in order to win. Because every opponent, and no different this week, Georgia State, it's a damn good football team. They will be ready to play. They will come in here and they will give us their very best. And if we don't prepare like that, and we decide that that's not as important on Tuesday or Wednesday to have ourselves ready, and then by Thursday and Friday, hey, we'll really start getting our minds right, then watch out, because Saturday is going to be Saturday's going to be a tough day at the end of the day. So, that's the reality. And the sooner we learn that and do it every day, the better off we're going to be. And for our team and this program, we need to learn that, and we need to do it each and every day consistently.
Coach, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.